Ellen's daughter, Marissa Luttrell, lost her vision at 13, a complication from childhood diabetes. That would make going to college challenging. In the fall of 1972, Marissa got a small apartment near American River Junior College in Sacramento, where she studied occupational therapy. The place was clean and quiet. The only problem was the rent. Her disability check barely covered groceries. She needed a roommate, and she needed help getting to class. Her college counselor, Lila Ross, handled both problems. Marissa came to her office looking for a tutor. That same morning, a student named Bobby had signed up for a part-time tutoring job. When Lila compared their schedules, she found that they had the same classes. So Bobby got a job, and Marissa got a guide who can walk her to class and read her the lecture notes. So that's one problem solved. Next, the roommate. Lila was in her office about to begin a search when there was a knock on her door. A tall man in casual clothes stood in the doorway. Next to him, a thin girl wearing wraparound sunglasses and an oversized hat. The girl looked thin and frail, almost sickly. The man introduced himself as Colonel Harry Nadian. His daughter Rachel had just registered for classes. They needed help finding a roommate. Rachel nodded at Lila and said, "It is a pleasure to meet you. I am called Rachel." This concerned Lila, but the colonel seemed normal enough, and maybe Rachel was just odd. Either way, both girls were quiet and polite, and Rachel's appearance wouldn't matter to a blind roommate. Harry wrote a check on the spot, half the rent and all utilities in advance. Lila couldn't believe her luck. Bobby appeared the same day Marissa needed a tutor, and Harry arrived just as she was about to start looking for a roommate. But none of this was coincidence. This was all carefully orchestrated. Now the experiment was ready to begin. Living with Rachel took some adjustment. Rachel was nice enough, but her speech was strange. She said she'd grown up in another country, but she didn't say which one. Rachel knew nothing about normal life. She'd never heard of Simon and Garfunkel. She didn't know what sports were. She referred to people as males and females. She sounded clinical and detached. She said she'd only met 4 people before Marissa, a reading instructor and 2 nurses on the base where Harry worked. No friends, no family besides Harry. It was like she had no past before 1969. But Marissa also had a secret of her own. Her vision was coming back. Now, it fluctuated. Some days were better than others, but she was definitely improving. Before, everything was dark, but now she could make out shapes and blurry outlines. She could see light and shadows, but she didn't tell anyone. Not Bobby, not her mother, not her counselor Lila. If people found out she could see, they would ask questions. The disability payments might stop. Harry might move Rachel somewhere else, and Marissa needed this arrangement. The rent was covered, the apartment was quiet, and she finally had independence. So she kept playing blind and kept asking for help she didn't always need. But she watched Rachel whenever she could. For the first few days, Rachel spent most of her time in her room, but eventually she would sit in the living room and talk. Marissa had already seen enough to know Rachel had long reddish blonde hair, but it was a color that she didn't have a name for. Rachel wore a big hat and sunglasses all the time. But when Rachel thought Marissa couldn't see, she'd sometimes take the hat and glasses off. Rachel had high cheekbones, thin slanted features. She was pretty. Then there was the food. Rachel's food was strange. She was on a special diet, so her food was delivered in small cardboard boxes every few weeks. But there was never a delivery truck, never a knock on the door. The small boxes just appeared. One morning, Rachel left early for class, leaving Marissa alone in the apartment. So she grabbed her magnifying glass and one of the food boxes in the refrigerator. It was white cardboard. The only marking was a small red triangle with 3 horizontal black lines running through it. She'd never seen a logo like that before. But the same triangle logo was on the jugs of water that also appeared with the deliveries. She opened the box. Inside looked kind of like chopped spinach. It was green and mushy, but it didn't smell like spinach. It smelled like decaying wet grass. One day, Marissa asked Rachel for a taste, but Rachel said no. She said the food would make her sick. Then there was the bathroom incident, when Rachel tried to take her own life.